Tim Tebow and Paul Finebaum have gotten up with us this morning. Great to see both of you guys. And so, Tim, I want to start with you. You know what it's like to go up against Nick Saban and one of his defenses. So what does Justin Fields have to do to be successful tonight?
Well, I think the first thing we need to understand is this is not a normal Nick Saban defense. It's a good defense, and they have two good corners, but they're not the same intimidating, fearless, have alpha males all over the field. This is a defense that has some pretty good statistics, but we also have to remember, against Ole Miss, they went right up and down the field. Florida, right up and down the field. And I think Justin Fields going into this game, I think he needs to be ready to adjust because I think Nick Saban's going to give him multiple different forms of looks, but I think Justin Fields needs to be ready and willing, I think he is, to also use his legs. When they get the man coverage, he's got to be able to find a way. Listen, go back to Matt Corral. He did it with his legs. Even Kyle Trask, who's not necessarily the best athlete, was able in pressure to move around, buy a little bit of time. Because Alabama does have two really good corners in Josh Jobe and Patrick Surtain, I think Justin Fields' legs are key in this game to open up the downfield passing game later in the game.
Something to watch for. Paul, you said before the Clemson game, Fields has to play the game of his life, and he did. What do you expect for him tonight?
Well, he has to do it again, Greeny, and his health is the issue. And I don't know really his condition, and we won't know until the game starts, but he got banged up badly. Certainly Tim understands this as well as anyone. It affects your preparation, and I think that's the key to this game. And Tim mentioned the Ole Miss game. Lane Kiffin said this week that the way to beat Alabama is to be relentless, to do trick plays, to do what Mike Greenberg didn't do yesterday. Go for it on 4th and 2. You can't give up a possession against this team or you will lose.
Let's talk about the quarterbacks here, Tim, and let's talk about Mac Jones. He actually has the highest QBR in the country. What are you watching for from him tonight?
Well, I think he actually has the highest QBR in the history of the metric. This guy has been incredible, but what I think he really needs to do in this game tonight is be patient. He's been so good throwing the ball down the field, but I really believe Ohio State is going to play a lot of different 3-zone and 3-match coverage where they're either rushing 4 or maybe bringing a 5th. And so I think they're going to really try to keep everything in front of him. And I think he needs to accept and be okay with the check down because you're still getting it to great playmakers. This is something he's done so well all year, is being willing to check it down and check it down quickly to get it to Najee or one of those playmakers who can make a big play with it. Don't think I need to press just because it's the national championship. If he does that, I think they'll be just fine.
And then there's just no stopping them, right? You can slow them to some degree. But I asked this question to David earlier. I'm fascinated. Tim, if you're Ohio State, how many points do you think you need to score to win tonight?
See, I don't just think it's the number of points. I think it's also the style of play. I think, at times you need to go no huddle to keep Alabama off balance and really make them vanilla on defense. But I also think there's times where you need to slow it down and you need to control the time of possession and you need to keep your defense off the field. So it's not just a point thing, it's a style of play thing. But if we have to go with points, I think it's 41. I think that number would be 41. I think if you're able to get I think if Ohio State wins, I think it'll be more of a 41-38 type game where they score at the last minute a go-ahead touchdown. But I think that would be the number I'll be looking for. But more than just points, I really believe style of play. Keep your defense fresh and off the field.
That's really interesting insight. And so, Paul, and no one knows sort of the history of this better than you do. What would a championship tonight mean for Nick Saban and his legacy?
It removes any doubt, Greeny, that he's the greatest coach of all time. And I say that as someone who covered the last 2 years of Paul Bryant. When he retired, everyone said, greatest coach of all time has stepped down. But Bear Bryant won 6 national championships at Alabama in 25 years. Nick Saban, with a win tonight, will have won his 6th national championship at Alabama since 2009. He won one at LSU, so that would give him 7. The debate's over. He's it.
I think that's right. If you should have seen the reaction on Rex's face when you said that. So the point that you made is well taken. Guys.